Paintings from China, Korea, and Japan share common qualities in visual arts like technique, style, and motifs. There were derivatives from calligraphy and implicit in painting skills. Consequently, calligraphy was a major element in the transformation of cultural values, whether as information or as aesthetic expression. Aside from where it derives, East Asian painting is well known because of its distinctive traits. East Asian painting has strong linear focus. The features are conveyed primarily with thin, sharply defined lines. The linear focus is arguably rooted in the culture's reverence for calligraphy, which literally means beautiful writing. The essential task of a calligrapher is to draw lines with many precise, distinct types, with a brush dipped in black ink. The works of any artist with calligraphic skill would quite naturally show the influence in painting. In China, from a very early period, calligraphy was considered not just a form of decorative art, rather it was viewed as supreme visual art form. It was more valuable than painting and sculpture, and ranked alongside poetry as a means of self-expression and cultivation. Now, here are some examples of East Asian painting and try to observe the use of strong linear focus. Most East Asian paintings were executed on scrolls of paper or silk. A single scroll often contains a series of adjacent paintings, which may be arranged horizontally such that the paintings are side by side, or vertically such as the paintings are one atop the other. The other forms of East Asian paintings include screens, murals, and illumination. East Asian paintings also employ shifting perspective, in which the size and the proportion of objects are freely modified according to aesthetic objectives rather than being constrained by the mathematical law of the physical world. One interesting consequence is that a landscape can be portrayed from the multiple viewpoints of a journey. An experience spanning a period of time may thus be captured in a single painting. To clearly understand the concept of shifting perspective in East Asian painting, let us know further about the concept of perspective or single point perspective. The term perspective refers to the representation of objects in three-dimensional space for representing the visible world on the two-dimensional surface of a picture. This depends on what our eyes see. Our eyes gives us point of view and this changes as we move. Our eye level is the basis of an imaginary horizon line. On the near middle of it lies a vanishing point. This is a point that is located directly in front of the viewer's eyes. On this defined square shape, diagonal lines were created on each corner that recedes back to the vanishing point. The shape of the cubes have now been defined and the lines that were used to draw it can be erased, revealing a three-dimensional cube in shape. The cube above the horizon line are drawn as if you are looking up at them, and the cubes below the horizon line are drawn as if you are looking down at them. This is now a simplified example of shifting perspective wherein you can see multiple views of cubes in different faces and angles. Now, try to observe this painting. Each of these parts are in different perspective of the artist. East Asian painters deliberately avoided precise realism in order to maintain flexibility of expression. Their goal was not to portray the world as it appears, but rather to express the inner truth of things. The last distinctive trait about East Asian painting is its category of color. Polychrome works feature a range of colors in their paintings, while monochrome paintings use only varying concentrations of black ink. A monochrome style is sometimes called as ink and wash painting. The following videos that I will be showing will give you an idea on how these distinctive traits were used in East Asian paintings. The first video will teach you how to use ink and brush in East Asian painting. This also includes how to handle properly the brush and how to create different strokes and shades. The second video will show you how to achieve East Asian painting using its technique or style. Hopefully, you can get some tips or ideas for you to use in your next art project.
Alright, let's take a look at the fundamental of Chinese painting. That is, how to use a brush, how to use ink, how to combine the two to create different brush strokes and different shades of ink that represent different feelings and different objects on your painting. First, let's take a look at how to hold a brush properly. First, I want you to put 2 fingers on one side of the brush. Use your thumb to hold them together. And the last 2 fingers, I want you to put it against your first 2 fingers. Hold it like this. You could adjust it. Make sure you feel comfortable. Make sure you are not holding it too tight, where you're adding a lot of force, or too loose, where you lose control of your brush. 2 fingers on one side, the other 2 fingers on the other side, and then use your thumb to hold everything together. This is how you hold a brush. Next, we're gonna take a look at how to 用笔, how to use your brush. So to use your brush, first we're gonna get some ink. You don't have to put ink on the whole brush. I want you to put it to just the tip and a little bit in the middle. You could tap away the rest of the ink. We don't want it too wet. We don't want it too dry either. Alright. So 用笔, how to use your brush. First one I want you to try is called 中锋. Make sure you hold your brush properly. Make sure you hold it straight forward. 中锋 is center 锋. So hold it straight and push down. 中锋. Try it again. You can also use your wrist to kind of give some support to your brush and your hand. 中分, center. The next one I want you to try is called 顺分. It's very similar to 中分, but don't use too much force. This time I want you to just use the tip of your brush and create a fine line. 顺分. The next one I want you to try is called 侧分. 侧分, use the side of your brush and kind of push it down. 侧分. You can also try it in different angle. The next one I want you to try is called 散分. So we're gonna spread the brush. Make sure you spread it evenly. You could use your finger to spread it, or you could use a piece of paper to spread it. If it becomes too dry, you could also add a little bit of water. Spread it here. And this one is called 散分. Usually we use 散分 to create animal hair. 散分. Again, try it in different angle. Try with a curved line, straight line. Just practice. The more you practice, the better. Because as you all know, Chinese painting, we can't really use an eraser. So any mistake you make, you just throw the whole painting away. So it really does take practicing. So the last one I want you to try is how to how to use your ink. In Chinese painting, a lot of times we talk about 5 different shades of ink. Some of the paper that you used, you don't have to trash it away. You could fold it and put it on your desk, and you could use it to get rid of extra water on your brush. So I'm gonna wash my brush first. And we're gonna take a look at 5 shades of ink. Let's take a look at the 5 different shades of ink. The first one is 浓墨. Next to it is 淡墨, 干墨, 湿染墨, 和胶墨. The first one, we don't add any water to our black ink. No water on our brush either, just ink. So you can see it's very black, very dark. The next one is 淡墨. We add water to dilute our ink. 淡墨. So in between, try to create a gradient. And try to add even more water to create an even lighter shade. For 干墨, make sure your brush is really dry. You could even take out more water by putting the brush on a piece of rice paper. The next one, you want to add extra water to your ink. You want to make sure your brush is very wet. It's almost like a melting effect, like a drip of ink that accidentally dripped on to your rice paper. The last one, you want to create your own ink with an ink bar. You want to make sure your ink is very thick and make sure your brush doesn't have any extra water. So now we have the 5 different shades of ink.